Morning with Max. Hello, good morning, and welcome to Morning with Max. Hello, Brand. Hope you had fun yesterday. Hello, Devo Mabevo, or Devo Mabevo. Fubu, Denarian, Brandon Logue on YouTube, and Cool It. F2 Low. Hi Max, do you know if there's a test this weekend? I don't know. We had the big bot battles this week with IT Alpha and Beta 1 backers. So I think if we did run a test over the weekend, it might be that test again. But I don't know for sure. You know, as always, it depends on what gets done over the course of the day. Indeed I did, says Brand. Awesome. Board game is coming along. That Brand game was cool. Very cool, Fubu. Yes, I crushed him. Well, thank you for helping me out, Brand. I think the cards probably need some tuning, but that's not really what I'm worried about, or so much, just because that's so easy to change or shift around, shuffle a few numbers. But it was very interesting to see how some of the more varieties of play happened. F to the low, that would be awesome. I guess you're referring to what I said about the test this weekend, but again, I don't know. It depends on what gets done over the course of the day, and lots of factors. John's trying to troll me. Since I see a couple of relatively new names in the chat, if you don't know who I am, I'm Max Porter. I'm the writer, editor, lore keeper, board game designer, and stream runner, and various other things here at City State Entertainment, where we are working on Camelot Unchained. I'm just here to chat with you folks for a bit and host or close out the week of streaming. Although we will have stream this afternoon, our usual end of week wrap up. Say hi to Mark as he passes by. Also, all around nice person. Thanks, Denarian. I'm going to briefly go over the week of streaming. So if you missed any of these streams and you want to catch them, they are linked in here as we do them, and as I remember to link them. Yesterday we had an office stream in the morning. Just turned on the cameras while we were working. Then transitioned into a lunchtime throwdown. So while everyone was at lunch and it was my lunch break, I play tested a board game I've been working on in my extra time. The depths themed board game, and I had Brand on as a guest. It was lots of fun, and does the Unchained vodcast, which I'm going to appear on at some point. And yes, it was a blast. We actually played 2 games. I don't think we've ever had a lunchtime throwdown double feature before. Actually, I don't think we've played 2 games back to back like that. But anyway, that afternoon we followed it up with more TDD Portals with John. John continued his work on the Tuatha De Danann portal model, sculpting that, and because that's what he was doing previous day on Wednesday, and he got started with it, and it's looking pretty cool. So check that out if you want to see John doing his usual 3D modeling magic. And then on Wednesday, after that stream with John, I followed it up with story time with Max. So I read part 4, or the first half of part 4 of the Silver Hens Becoming story, and I'll probably finish that up next week on stream. So if you want to catch up with that, you can. On Tuesday, we just had an office stream, and on Monday, we had Morning with Max and painting all the things with Michelle in the afternoon, and she was working on Stormwatch Tower concepts. That TDD Portal John stream rocked. Yes, it did. Pat Patalino. Cheers. Cheers to you. What's this now, John? Oh, magic, yes. And hard work in ZBrush. What are you folks drinking today, by the way? I've got my Coke Zero for my caffeine, and my water in the Vader cup for hydration. Not doing the coffee thing today, at least right now. Denarian is having coffee though. Fubuwu's having water here in 104 Nevada. I am assuming that's 104 degrees Fahrenheit. That sounds horrible. That sounds awful. Tsipuro here in Greece, says Pirania69. Lunchtime.
Does that affect how water impacts?
Neat. Fubu, but it's only 82 indoors. Oh my gosh. Not cold enough. Tsipuro is a brandy from Greece.
Yeah, it sounds like this is.
And in particular, Thessaly. Epirus, Macedonia, and the island of Crete. Neat. That sounds amazing, Pirania.
Yeah, so I think somebody was trying to do some testing and put some tags in.
Bran is drinking some Alaskan Amber on my flight. Well, what a way to close out the vacation, Brand. Denarian. I also made more ice cream, Cuban coffee flavor. I would mail some to you in Nevada to combat the heat. But it would be liquid by the time it got there. Wow, Denarian. Wow. That's cold.
so I can go through and clean these up. It looks like these tags aren't the way they're supposed to.
Piranha's name dropping all of these
Just literally off of that sheet and like
interesting Greek
I also did some testing yesterday. I looked around
things.
on the sword swing, trying to figure out the whole trail thing. I can show you that later.
The what now?
Just the
Greek
the sword.
maze or maze.
I did some capturing from the game, so you can see how fast it was really swinging, and you can see like frames.
Interesting.
What was the question about it?
Well, our great sword swing is super.
Oh, it's too fast.
Scott's original animation.
That's right. Brand points out we have some booze in CU via the Abbot. In fact, they have some, sample abilities that we've talked about
And like a video.
that directly have to do with booze.
Not an actual real sword swing. Maybe we'll find a demo or
Cheers.
combat. But from a video game.
Oh, from a game. Yeah, games.
I got one that was slow, that was a big swing. And it was still pretty fast, but it was...
These is Spanish tapas,
Yeah, games
which are small plates with several finger foods. Yeah. That sounds delicious and also fun to eat.
Dragon's Dogma followed Scott's original 10 frames to hit mode a lot better. Like, I think there was like 8 or 9 for the whole.
Although I'm not a fan of fish myself.
Like over here,
Can't explain it.
full follow through.
Twitchy Desparia is AJ going to pull a double today to make up for yesterday. No.
The follow through there is 1 frame. So it's super fast.
Sorry, Twitchy Desparia. Maybe we'll convince AJ to stream next week, though. We'll see.
Accelerate. It's there, like that.
Horse Rudolph asks, so are we getting our first part of the Beta 1 doc today? I don't know.
I do play it back a little bit faster, but assuming that was being played at the exact same rate that it was being produced, right?
We are going to have the end of week wrap up this afternoon.
Animation is
Twitchy Desparia.
30 frames.
So,
So 3 frames.
if you want to
30 frames.
join us for that, you'd be welcome.
And 8 frames is about a quarter of a second, so 3 frames is an 8th of a second. Tenth of a second.
30 frames is 1 second.
Tenth of
3 frames
of a second.
is a tenth of a second. And the timing on that ability, I think, is like 250 milliseconds. So it shouldn't be 100, or it should be 10, or it shouldn't be, yeah, it should be 25. So it's faster than I think it's supposed to be. Even if it doesn't look like it, it still is. Right. So it might just actually be going too fast. Do you know when the actual hit happens?
I talked with Scott about when the hit. When
Yeah, see, I knew John would do that.
if there's a disconnect. I was trying to explain
I'm just not a fan.
what should happen as far as the position of the sword and the swing.
Fortunately, I like lots of other things.
I made a debug thing so that I play a separate effect when pre-hit happens. I can show you on my computer. I can show you a video of
Oh, I should mention to pop out this afternoon, so we might move the end of week wrap up stream down half an hour or something.
If we go backwards.
Some horrid fish booze. Ugh. What's up, Anila Gamir? On the YouTube chat. What's up? I'm just sitting here chatting with you folks. Denarian, I'm not into fish either, and I grew up on an island, so it is a disgrace. Understood.
Just looking at a great swordsman, I can show you something.
So specifically, this.
Yes. That one, I think, that's weird fast. That's the illusion of looking faster than it really is. You step through it frame by frame. Where you capturing it 30 frames a second.
So in terms of like in-game seconds, right? Pretty fast.
Yes.
Weapon trail looks fine.
Dave's always talking about something like that.
Look,
Some sort of rotten fish alcohol
He doesn't have
thing.
how much it has. But also like the character doesn't look silly, right?
He's also got
Brixton Gun. Would you rather eat Greek fish or play Darkfall? Given that choice, probably Darkfall. If Camelot Unchained becomes a huge success at launch, Anila's asking me, would you guys be moving, upgrading offices? Larger staff, I'm sure. I don't know. We got to get there first.
Yeah, I still think he's
I'm sure Mark has thought about it.
Well, yeah, he
We've,
does, but,
you
like,
know,
look how unrealistic
kind of talked about it a little bit, but not like,
really silly and
seriously.
all over.
Anila says, come to Boston so I can apply for a job. I don't know if that's on the list.
and is there a disconnect between more
Dark Tide,
realistic
Foul Mist.
realistic looking animations?
Oh, Brian, you want me to wave it, John? Okay. Dark Tide. I miss that about EQ1 where if you got drunk, it would put you in first person and actually make you wobble and everything. Fubu, did Dave start to learn a bit of Japanese? Yeah, I think Dave was doing that for a while. Maybe he still is. But I think he was just,
Specifically looking at how long,
Just looking at the time.
just how
The other thing is that
you know, just doing it for fun
you gotta keep in mind
and
the weapon
to
trail
watch anime in the original language.
attack actually happens.
Brandon, for a starter company,
To look like that
is there any concerns or challenges
distorts your
you
perception.
did or didn't anticipate?
Because it's got face still at the same time, so
I mean, for me personally,
I'd be curious to see
it,
this without an effect, just to see how fast it looks.
not
I bet it would look
exactly.
well, like I was doing, like you can scrub through it frame
Just
by frame and see
kind of part of the
how fast.
culture, but that would be a good question to ask
This is
Mark
kinda what I feel like.
this afternoon during the end of week wrap up.
The thing I captured was specifically a big sword because the demo sword swing is a big sword. Now the sword is
Because he's the head of the studio. Dark Tide, CSG, doing a PAX West visit this year. Not as a company, no. Whether some of us are going on their own, I don't know.
And there isn't a weird acceleration between here and here. It's like it's a very fluid motion. Yes.
Well, as you saw in that clip, right? There's a definite ease in and ease out.
Yeah.
But the middle of it is like more
Yes.
contiguous.
Yes.
So
I think that's
that might be a thing to ask Scott about if you've been talking to him.
Yeah.
Have you?
A little bit. Yeah.
Okay.
He
So
was,
as long
he was
as-
stressed out over video stuff.
Yeah, because he was talking about making some edits to the animation for you, if I remember. I don't know if that has happened or is in the process of happening, but if you're going back and forth with him, then that's good. Because it's really between, you're trying to make the animation.
Fubuwu, do you have any advice about asking weekly wrap-up questions? Like, keep it short.
Yeah, I know.
I mean,
In general,
keeping it concise, not short,
have a good
is
flow through and flow.
definitely my advice.
Like right now,
People, and what I mean by that is,
it's fine if
it's not so much about the length of the question, but that it is no longer than it needs to be.
you just have to follow through.
My advice is
There's too much mass.
try to ask a question that you don't think people have asked before. Try to
But anyway, I think it just looks better if everything is more flowing.
ask questions
That is.
more like how than a yes or no question.
But anyway,
I know we did the yes or no round when Mark had his root canal, so he couldn't talk, so we had the yes and no signs. But outside of that,
Just get the sword swinging and sparks and
Grintar, Max, my man, give us some juicy details that you shouldn't. I'll think about that. Anila, Max, do you have a favorite race/class yet? No.
they probably can.
I mean, in terms of classes, as I often say, I like to either go really like heavy fighter or mage, which feels like opposites.
client effects, either sound or particle.
That's just how I tend to go. In terms of races, I don't know.
Or based on
I don't know if I have a favorite
specific tags,
one
just based on these specific tags.
yet.
Tag weights.
I'll get back to you on that, Anila.
Tag weights.
But I think a lot of them are really cool. It's that simple.
These are going to be like
Maybe the giant races. I think they're all really cool. The Fear Bog, the Golems, and the Frost Giants.
but like in here.
I'm really happy with how their lore stories turned out. I mean, a lot of the lore stories are really awesome. But I'm really happy with those, and particularly the Fear Bog and Golems are kind of unusual and interesting, but in I don't know, ways that particularly interest me. So maybe that, but I could see myself doing something entirely different. So there you go. Denarian, who in the office do we have to bribe to get shirts made that say Mornings with Max and the intro graphic? Cool idea, Denarian. I guess Mark. And it probably won't happen until after we're in beta, just because that's our focus right now, for sure. But that's a great idea, Denarian. Brixton Gun, is there any bot battle footage? Not that we've released yet, I don't think. But I don't know. Brand, juicy details. Max has all the best armor tokens. Very funny, Brand. Very funny. If I hadn't gotten so incredibly lucky with those, you would have really put some serious hurt on me. Lotoween, boy, the morning has flown by. Almost missed morning with Max. Hey, Lotoween. Grintar, Max, how is gear going to work? See, that's the kind of juicy detail that I knew you were asking for that I don't know. Is it all going to be player crafted? Oh, wait, I do know. Yes, with the exception of, like, maybe starter equipment. And a few, you know, maybe a few other things. But it is player driven.
All I'm worried about is,
You know, some large percentage. Mostly player crafted. What is the difference between starter gear and endgame gear? The skill of the crafter. Remember that we have a horizontal system, mostly Grintar, so with some vertical elements. John saw Dion doing a walkthrough of the mine this morning. So cool. Yeah, we all gathered around over Dion's objections. John called everyone around to kind of look at the mine and see how it was coming along, and she kind of Dion kind of took us through it, and we thought it was super cool. Anila, is the office religious about Game of Thrones? We've got a death pool going on here, putting money on who we think will die this season. No, the office is not religious about Game of Thrones. There is a Game of Thrones spoiler chat in the Discord, and people go over to Mark's house fairly regularly to watch the episodes together. Grintar, how can it be player driven if there's no full loot? That would be a really good question for one of the designers. Grintar saying it can be player driven, like saying GW2's gear is player driven and crafted. Again, ask a designer. Ask Mark this afternoon. Ask Ben when he's on. But I will say that it's in the foundational principles. It's something we've actually talked quite a bit about, and I would direct you toward the wiki, Grintar.
all I need to do is I just need to, if I make...
Joedown71, I would direct you toward some of the BSC docs, where Mark laid out some of that stuff, the daily rewards and stuff like that. Grimslag, crafters can forge weapons and gear for guild guards. I think so. That would fit with a lot of the things we've said. But again, I think Mark has answered that question before in the affirmative. But for more details, you're going to have to ask him or Ben. Foo, this morning with Max went so fast it might prove time travel is possible. Well, here we are almost at the end of it. Helzik. So in other words, in a horizontal system, while there may be some verticalness to the gear, meaning increased stat numbers on better gear, higher end gear will have more options available to it. That may be Helzik. Mark has been designing the crafting system, so to get those details, really thorough explanation, you're going to have to ask him. All right. Well, Brand, is Dion glad to be near done with the mine? Yeah, she's getting there. I think she's justifiably proud of it. Fubu with X-Max and guest star John for the cool stream. Yes, thanks for hopping on, John. It's just about time for me to close down this morning with Max. Yes, blitz me with questions at the end. That always works. I have to shut down. We're going to go do stand-ups over down at the end there. We're going to gather around the screen that says CSC West and just coordinate talk about plans for today, plans for next week, what got done this week, etc. And it wasn't a question, it was an explanation. Yeah, I know, that's why I read it out loud, Helsick. Thank you for helping me out.
I was trying to explain to him that we wanted to happen
have a great weekend. But I will hopefully see you later this afternoon for the end of week wrap up and Q&A, probably with Mark. Halloween. Max, can you go over the week's stream for us late arrivals? Are you trolling me? I haven't called for stand-ups yet. Alright. See you later. Thank you all for joining me. That was lively and fun. I will say bye now.
One other issue to keep in mind too.